the evil that's within evil.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? It is I, the Greenest Lantern, also known as Paul in real life, coming at you live through nothing else but my PC, and I'm here with a special guest today. His name is the amazing person I like to call Zod, and yeah, so take it away.
Hey guys, my name's Zod, and today I'm acting as the special guest to discuss some games. What did we want to talk about today, Paul?
Well, we did want to have a few topics on our, agenda, but we narrowed it down to, well, one topic, and that one topic would be the evil within. And
Great choice.
yes, I figured as much. I figured we'd talk about the evil within because we both have a little bit of similar experiences with it, so it would be a lot easier for both of us to, what's the word, give our feedback, if you will.
You know I'm a big fan of the survival horror genre, and so are you. Since we were kids.
Definitely. I'll never forget the first day I played Resident Evil. I'm pretty sure you'll never forget that too. Being at a certain age, for example, when
it's something that sticks with you.
It does. It does.
It's a pretty scary game.
It is. I mean, the integrity, and just it just immerses you into the game. Man, I was scared to death. All right.
Me and all my friends were scared of this game. My friend told me about the game. He didn't bother telling the features or what you were doing, just that he was playing some game that was giving him nightmares. And being a kid, you're like, I need to check out this game. It turned out to be Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2 was the first one I played. Which one did you play first?
I played I think it was Resident Evil 1 or 2. Is that the one where it came with the double pack? The one with like Chris and Claire? Was that number 1 or number 2?
Chris and Claire, that would be Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2, so that was the one I played. And, it was pretty freaking freaky, I must say. Especially when you only had limited freaking bullets.
It's true, we weren't used to ammo conserving. Like, we just came out of the Super Nintendo era where if you played an action game, you had unlimited ammo, and all of a sudden we were playing on the PS1, and if you wasted a bullet, it actually meant something. So we weren't used to that sort of gameplay, were we?
Oh no, definitely not. It's the same as when they implemented that on the Evil Within as well, which is mainly what we're here to talk about. And there are some hiccups in the game that I experienced. I'm pretty sure you experienced. I'm pretty sure you experienced that as well. So.
It wasn't a perfect game. It was a good game. I liked it very much. But like you said, it didn't come without its faults. So let's try and balance this out. In your opinion, let's cover some of the faults and work our way from there. So what didn't work for you? What didn't sell the experience?
The one that didn't sell me the experience the most was the fact that, it's upgradable now, but I remember that when I was, the quality of the game. I mean, the game was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I noticed that within the game...
What platform did you play the game by?
PC.
Okay, so for everyone watching, we both played it on PC. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I played it on the PC, and, DirectX 9, wasn't it? DirectX 9, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was just... Yeah. I think it was just DirectX 9. I don't think they are... Yeah.
Playing with two 7990s in Crossfire with an 8-core processor and 32 gigs of RAM, you think it would, kind of...
You'd run it pretty smoothly.
Yeah, and you did. And I did run it smoothly. It was running smoothly. I just didn't feel the quality of the game as much. I felt it very... out of date of some sort, I mean, I didn't...
Okay, so it didn't support your 2-screen setup.
Exactly.
So you played the game on 3.
That's
okay,
right,
just
right,
for people who don't understand what you meant just before.
Which is Infinity. I'm pretty sure
Ifinity.
all geeks
Okay.
would know what Ifinity is. But
Yeah. Just for those that don't. So Ifinity is those who can play a game across 3 monitors. It's just spread out.
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
As I
All right.
said, as I just mentioned, I noticed the highly anticipated game wasn't as hardcore with its graphical hardware
Hmm.
as I thought it would be. Like I said,
Okay.
playing with two 7990s in Crossfire with an 8350 just didn't look as good for me as I would, you know, I thought it would be.
So was the resolution not supported? Was it stretched out at
Look,
all? Or did the resolution wasn't properly supported by the game developers? So Tango Gameworks.
Look, the way I see it is that I was playing the game with three monitors running at 1920 by 1200 each. Okay, that's a 16 by 9 resolution.
So your experience wouldn't have been so good then. That's not full support, isn't it?
Exactly my point.
Because you need a very high resolution for 3 monitors. What
Exactly.
resolution is 3 monitors so people can have a comparison?
Well, you've got three monitors, it doubles each monitor. So, like, if your monitor supports 1920 by 1080, it
Hmm.
will double that up. So it will be like 5760 by 1080. Mine was 5760 by 1200, which is a fucking enormous one. Like,
Okay.
it's
So we'll say
huge.
5700.
Yeah.
And what is it that Evil Within did actually support?
The Evil Within did support a Ifinity display,
Hmm.
but
Well, what resolution though? What was the highest
the
resolution?
highest resolution wasn't 5700, it was 4800. So
Okay, so short, below the
it
mark.
was, it was that really, didn't really do it for me, which really bugged me a lot.
Hmm.
Um, According to you, they fixed this problem. Um, but the letterbox bars at the bottom of the screen, which really bugged me a lot.
Ah,
I mean,
yes.
although it didn't happen on the PS4, the experience was exactly, what's the word? It didn't actually happen on the PS4, but for you, I don't really know. I mean, I played it on the PS4, but
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
console owners were stuck with the black bar, but shortly after the release of Evil
no
Within on
PC,
PC,
PC, it was
we,
PC, it was PC
yeah,
owners.
on PC, we could remove the black bar. And to be honest, while playing, I never really noticed the black bar. It didn't affect me. But the second I removed the black bar, I realized how much of a better game it was as a result. You know, you felt a lot closer because you could simply see more going around you. And considering it's a survival horror game, you probably want to see what's around the corner and not have a black bar. I felt the game was very cinematic in general. I don't think it needed black bars to further emphasize that point.
That's
So
right. That's good.
I'm
And
glad PC owners got that choice, you know.
that's right. That's right. But in all fairness, I think the game was like at 30 frames, wasn't it? On
It
PC?
launched at 30 frames
Yep.
shortly after they did unlock the ability for 60
That's right.
frames,
Yep.
which I tested out and I didn't feel it benefited the game because you could tell the game was not designed around 60 frames. So things went a bit faster. But personally, I actually agree with Shinji Mikami, so
Hmm.
the actual game
Yeah,
designer,
yeah,
Resident Evil creator, and so forth. I actually agree with one of his articles that I read. He actually stated that they deliberately chose 30 frames per second because he felt the slower frame rate
So why
suited
is
the
that?
pace.
Why was
He,
that?
he felt it suited the pace of the game. So, 60 frames per second is a smoother experience. It also does run faster. Whereas when you play on 30 frames per second, you are sort of forced to, you can't do things too quickly. And to be honest, when I played the PC version, I tested 60 frames and 30 frames, so I went back and forth. And for some reason, I actually went back to 30 frames and stuck to it because I actually agree with him. I felt it just suited the pace of the game better. That's just my personal opinion, though. I have mates who put on 60 frames and
So
prefer
how?
it that way.
But how was that? Like you couldn't tweak it though. Before this was before.
Mhm.
This was before they could tweak it. Now I don't think they were. They could tweak it now. They tweaked it to 60, but before when the game launched, you weren't able to tweak it. It was 30 frames by
Yes, it
default.
was
So
30 frames per second, unless you went into some debug option,
oh, that's yeah.
then it lets you do it.
But in all fairness, the game still looked beautiful for a DirectX 9 game. I will admit that. I still admit, you know, I remember when I had. Do you remember those old graphics cards that were DirectX 9, ready for DirectX 10 compatibility?
Yeah,
The X 2900, which was just
I
a
remember
monster in
them.
itself. Yeah, that supported that stuff, but it was still good.
It was surprising that they did go with DirectX 9 because the game itself, personally, is one of my favorite games from last year. And I did think visually it looked amazing. So I was a bit disappointed that they chose to stick with DirectX 9. They were using the new ID engine. I saw no reason for them to hold back, or at least have the option. You have DirectX 9, let us also do 11. Like, why not, take advantage of those extra features? It was a little bit of a letdown, but atmospherically, I absolutely loved it. The depth of field, the fog, everything. I'd love to play that game in virtual reality.
Yes,
On
yes.
those headsets.
Yeah, yeah. The best thing for me was when you played as Detective Sebastian, was it Castellanano? I think his name was Castellaniano,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
because
Who,
Sebastian Castells, yeah.
I love his emotionalist and like cool point of humor and
Hmm.
rude parody that he would come up with. So like he'd be like, "Oh shit!" like just out of the blue, and it would just randomly just, you know, yeah. So that was really cool about that. I mean, even with the
I did find that pretty funny. I read online a lot of people complaining that he was apparently an uninteresting character, but
he was.
I I actually disagree with that. I love the fact that when he was in trouble, he would say, "Oh shit," or "Oh crap," or whatever it was, because I'd be thinking it, and then the game character says it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's actually pretty funny." Like the first time you come across the butcher and then he says it, and you're like, "Oh, that's," it to me felt more realistic. He said something which a normal person would do,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that's
I
just
can
my
understand. I can
my opinion.
understand that. I can understand that. Or what, which is another thing about the horror experience of the game, which
Yeah.
kind of compelled me to return to the game after Resident Evil, was
Hmm.
the horror story experience between it, which after dying 600 billion times, and then playing in survival mode. Let's be honest, I play in hard. I don't play easy. I like to, after having my head shattered, my torso sliced into 1,600,000,000 times.
The game
Um,
does do that a lot.
yes, it does. Especially when you're trying to get rid of the goddamn butcher, and yeah. Um, you know, After, especially when the screen bled as well, and you'd be like, oh fuck, 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 fuck. I was still compelled to come back. I don't know what made me think for me to come back, but it made me come back into the game for some reason. But it's the definition. This in a game is the definition of a great horror survival experience.
Oh, definitely. I think it lived up to the name and lived up to the genre. There was a lot of pressure on Team Tango Gameworks to get this right because a lot of people were looking to this studio for a first AAA title in survival horror. And we haven't had that since the PS1 era. I think it died out by the time the PS2 era kicked in. So yeah, everyone was watching, and the game did well. Everyone knows about it. You had mixed reviews, but for the most part, positive. Do you think we'll ever see games like this in the future, or do you think this was the last shot survival horror had?
Look, I think that this might be the last shot that survival horror actually had, because let's be honest here,
Mm.
everything that you've got in this game is what horror survival should have been about.
Yeah,
Like the limited ammo, the oh fuck, I'm gonna die, shit, don't go around the corner. Should I go around the corner? Should I stay here, or should I wait for this like butcher dude to come out with a chainsaw out of the blue, and just you know, or,
exactly.
or hide into a meat lock, hide into like a what are those lockers called? The things that I'm gonna call them school lockers, I guess. When you
Yeah,
would hide into the school locker and he'd come out and he'd know that you were there, and he would open you up and just rip you to shreds, Outlast style. Um,
exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
which, if you don't know what Outlast is, I recommend. That is a great game as well that you can play. Check out the link in the doobly-doo. I've got a couple of videos there as well. I'm pretty sure, have you done a review on Outlast?
Not on Outlast, no. I've played the game though, so I'm familiar with it. It is a good game and also a step in the right direction.
I'll post a little video, a little picture of the Outlast guy and the other dude, comparing them both here, right next to my fingers, right here, right in your ear. But yes, I can understand that's why I thought this game is the last chance of horror survival, because it just brings a lot of depth to people that loved the Resident Evil. And Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil, you know.
Yeah, an awful lot was riding on this game, and I personally wanted it to succeed because I've actually missed survival horror gaming. You know, Resident Evil used to be the game that used to take us there. Unfortunately, since Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, Capcom has taken the action path, and that is what's probably driven the success of the Evil Within, was frustrated gamers who wanted the experience they could no longer get while watching their favourite franchise go in a completely different direction.
That's right. That's another good thing. I didn't think the new Resident Evils, like 6 and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the new Resident Evil 5 and 6, I didn't think they were really, really good, to be honest with you.
I didn't enjoy them. I thought that Resident Evil 5 I thought was a good game, but I feel it had nothing to do with Resident Evil. It was a good action game as far as I was concerned, but it destroyed my favourite franchise and I wasn't too pleased.
It was a good slasher game, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here, you know. It kind of reminded me a little bit about, I don't know how I'm comparing Dino Crisis to Resident Evil, let's be honest, but it kind of reminded me about Dino Crisis a little bit.
It's funny you mentioned that. The first Dino Crisis was actually done by Shinji Mikami. That's why the games actually played quite similar. And I enjoyed Dino Crisis.
That's another thing as well that I wanted to mention. Have you noticed that Dylan, was it Dylan? I believe it was Dylan. Dylan and Regina. Have you noticed that Dylan looks a lot like the guy in Resident Evil? Same hair.
Resident Evil.
Remember Resident Evil Chris from Resident Evil?
Yeah.
You notice how he looks a little bit the same as Dylan?
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, but now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I can see the similarities. You know, the sharp, short hair.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And they were both police officers.
Yeah,
which is another thing as well. I mean, except one was about dinosaurs and one was about zombies. Both great games. Dino Crisis was one of my favourite games on the PlayStation.
Absolutely built up the suspension, brilliantly.
Definitely.
And the use of music played a big part as well. There wasn't necessarily a lot of background music, but every drop, if you were walking on some edge, you heard every footstep.
Oh yes, definitely. That was something that that I thought was entertaining. Well, really entertaining and suspenseful when it came to the Evil Within as well.
It certainly was.
When, for example, when you would walk, you could actually hear the footsteps, and you could, like some games that alright, I can't believe I'm comparing this, but Gary's Mod, for example, I don't think you've played Gary's Mod, but Gary's Mod is, is like you can turn into a fucking potato. That's it's but like you would float. Those games that aren't really well done, and it looks like you're floating when you run.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's why I thought Gary's Mod would be a little bit more easier to determine, but you haven't played Gary's Mod, which,
Nah, I haven't. I know of it, but I haven't played it personally.
How dare
it's very popular.
It is very good.
Like one of the most popular mods
one of the
ever.
It's fun. It's fun, especially if you're at a LAN party, for example, and you want to play that game. Play it because you won't you can just stand there as a pot plant. You can be a freaking knife if you want to be. It's one of my favorite LAN party games, but going back on topic here, because let's be honest, we are here to talk about the Evil Within.
Just a little bit, and I thought of something you mentioned to me, and a lot of people have actually mentioned. Let's discuss the bosses of the evil within, because a lot of people, and even myself to an extent, feel that some of the bosses were just plain too hard. What are your opinions on that?
They were.
What's your thoughts?
I knew that some of the bosses on the Evil Within were a little too hard. I noticed that. Wow, what was that boss? The Butcher, for example.
Hmm.
I noticed that when I was going through the Butcher, I noticed that, you know, that part where you need to crawl through and you need to make sure that he's not in your line of sight, otherwise he comes and basically just gets the chainsaw and sticks up your ass. You know?
Yeah, so you're
Yeah,
trying to, at the start of the game when you're trying to run away and you're
essentially,
defenseless.
basically, yeah, and you got no bullets. You got, and I'm pretty sure a gun with 6 bullets is not going to do anything anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the size of the bullet. And look at him, and I died about 60,000 times, and that was probably one of the hardest, the Butcher, and that was only the start of the game.
It was very frustrating to the point which a lot of people I know who were playing the game, they enjoyed it and they would reach a boss which they just found so hard. They just rage quit, and to this day haven't been able to go back because the difficulty curve, like goes normal like any other game. But when you reach a boss, anyone who's played, it's just completely different. And unless you're very stubborn, a lot of people walk away, which is a shame because they walked away from a otherwise very good game.
Yeah. What about the Claw of Hordes? Remember that, the Claw of Hordes, the chapter 3 and chapter 3?
Claw of Hordes. Remind me which section
That would be, correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be where you need to like neutralize bombs and stuff. You know, when you're in like the certain parts of the cabins, and if you go through certain parts of the cabin and you don't kneel, right? They just randomly come out of the blue and just like it just blows you up. Those bombs, you know, those bombs that I'm talking about.
Ah, yes, yes.
That one there.
Yeah, no,
Bombs.
that wasn't one of my favorite
That wasn't.
areas.
I thought a bomb was. I didn't think the bomb would blow up on me. But the worst part of it was when you'd go run, you'd literally run through, and when I would run through the bomb, right, I needed to quickly the zombies had no effect on it. Seriously, it had no effect on the zombies. I was thinking I'll crouch because then that would help me. They would go through, and then you go through, and the zombies would go through, and the thing wouldn't blow up, which really bugged the
I
crap out of
I
me.
did notice that. I can't help but feel that's either a horrible design choice or a bug in the game. When there's a motion sensing device that will blow you up to pieces and you sneak past that, logic would show that when a monster goes by, it would blow up. And it doesn't. And I found that very frustrating because there's no logical reason why it didn't take them out, especially a game which focuses on environmental takedowns,
That's right.
which is one of the things I actually wanted to bring up. There is something about the game I really did enjoy, and that was the fact that each scenario you could tackle that however you saw fit. So if you had enough ammunition, fair enough, you could take them down, but otherwise you get creative about it. You could go through a window and maybe wait for them to climb the window and attack them as they do it, or set a mine. What's some of your favorite techniques which you used to make just a few bullets you had last a very long time?
Honestly, mine would have to be the sneak up and stab attack.
That's right. That was a completely new feature.
That was my favourite. I used to love it.
I didn't expect stealth to be introduced because that didn't exist in Resident Evil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You couldn't sneak up on any
Oh,
zombies.
you could. Well,
Could you? Because I really don't recall.
I don't think. Well, if you classify sneaking up behind them and then just randomly getting up and going, "Hey, bang."
Yeah, true. No, if you had the Magnum in Resident Evil.
I mean, that's what I basically used to do. um, but
No, you're right. The stealth takedowns, I think it did
that was my favorite.
really
That was my
help the
favorite.
game.
Until you were found out, then you couldn't really do very much. The worst freaking one was, I don't know if you can remember, but one of the little zombie people, I don't know what the hell they were. I'm gonna call them zombie people.
Okay.
Um, uh, was that guy with the blue eyes. He would always snipe you every time. He was all like on the balcony, and he would always snipe you. I'd always die every single time, no matter how he would always keep. I don't know if it was a glitch in the game, but I stabbed him about 60 times, and I used about all the bullets I could to kill him, knowing that there were going to be another 6 groups of zombies coming up and trying to kill me.
That's a good example of the imbalance that occasionally, affected the game. For the most part, you could play it. It was balanced very well. It was challenging, and that's why you came back. And then there would just be other times which, for some reason, it's almost as if the code just went wrong. Like certain enemies just got double the health that they were intended to have.
It's the same as
and you'd get confused.
It's the same as the sadist, or the butcher, I'd say. You called him the butcher, right? But his real name's the sadist. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I actually don't know.
I'm pretty sure his name is the sadist. I'm not sure, but yeah.
We'll go with that for now.
I'm gonna go with the butcher. All right.
Okay.
Basically, look, the way I see it is that he was another person that I thought was very, very hard to kill, as I previously mentioned. There were a few glitches in that part of the game as well, for me anyway, when I bought it, where there was one where literally the chainsaw wouldn't come out. Like, it looks like he was it looked like the chainsaw was going through the wall. It was actually quite funny.
Oh.
It was really funny.
Okay. One of the times the game glitch actually goes in your favour.
It is.
When you're up against those bosses, you welcome those glitches, which which actually reminds me of another point.
That was the only way I was able to beat him, was that glitch. So I was able to run through.
That glitch is what helped you. What I also liked, which was also new and didn't exist in Resident Evil, was the upgrade system. I'm the sort of person that likes to customize my experience.
Yes,
and I like the fact that when you did upgrade, it was up to you to decide what was important.
Yes.
If you wanted more damage, more ammunition, or if you're just weird and you're like me, and I just upgraded the physical damage, and I would normally get my sniper rifle and hit them repeatedly and run away and hit them again. Not the best tactic, but it let me conserve ammo. But the point is, I had that choice, and you probably played the game completely different, and so did every other player.
I did play it a little bit different. I chose to go, the pharmaceutical route, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, obviously the health.
Exactly.
These days comes in a syringe for some reason.
That's exactly right. I chose, the pharmaceutical route. Why I said pharmaceutical is because, I remember in Resident Evil you'd have this plant. Remember the big plant that would rotate? The green plant.
Green herb
when you would get bitten, and it would come up with a little what is it called? That little, what is it, pedometer or whatever. No, the description, and then it's got the heartbeat. What is the heartbeat thingy called?
Yes, the pulse reader.
Yeah, whatever. I think it's a pulsonometrist or some pulsonometry or some crap like that. But I personally thought that was one of my favourite.
So why did you upgrade that? Was that so you can get more health?
Basically,
game
because playing on hardcore or hard mode, I'd say, there's not really much health. So let's be honest here. I told you that's why I went the pharmaceutical route, because I was always dying constantly, and for me, a PC gamer, dying very rapidly and quickly, and being mutilated by big walking massive corpses with chainsaws and getting my spine ripped out and all that good jam, I figured pharmaceutical route would be the best, equivalent to certain things as well. So I just kept upgrading that shit all day. I did try and upgrade other things as well, but the majority of it was the health portion. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point. I played around with anything that can make a little more. So apart from physical damage, I would make sure I would carry as many matches as possible. and try to light the body on fire as they'll run across. And as you know, they'll then light all of them on fire. So my tactic was to conserve as much as possible. But that did leave me vulnerably weak, though, because apart from having more items, my weapons weren't upgraded, I wasn't doing extra damage, so when I was ambushed, I really struggled because I didn't improve any of the damage, you know, so I'd have to shoot them too many times. I think that was a bad choice on my part, but it suits my style of play, and I like the fact players had that option.
That was a good idea as well. One thing I did enjoy is that when, I think it was either when you died, because I didn't play it all that long, right? Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you here. I actually started shitting myself because I played it at like 4 in the morning. You know, no one's home.
Always a good time.
You know, playing it at 4 in the morning and then getting off, and then you've got that, you know, intensity of perceptive reality, I believe, yeah. And you've got that, you know, perceptive reality, and you go to the toilet to take a pee, you know, and then all you hear is like a little, you hear your cat, basically you hear your cat walking in, you'd be like, what the hell was that, you know? You get into kung fu movements and stuff, and yeah, that was...
Poor cat.
I almost killed my own cat, alright? Coming from a vegan, I almost killed my own bloody cat, alright? God damn it. And it was really, really scary, it really was.
That is also what you want, isn't it? Like, we want to play a game that can make us, you know, question a shadow or be just a little bit paranoid of what that noise was. Exactly. That's how you know they did a good job. I remember playing Resident Evil in the dark. That was punishment. Like, I'd have to secretly turn on the lamp just to...
like I said, that's the only reason why I stopped playing it was, you know, especially when the start of it as well. Do you remember the start of it when he goes in, he comes out, and then, like, the whole world is like exploding, or was it like it was coming apart? Which I was like,
yeah, the buildings were moving.
Yeah, it was like, holy crap, that's the end of the game already, you know. And that was quite, you know, quite a show, I must say. But,
the imagination ran wild in that game. I loved the fact that you would be teleported from one place to another, and literally anything was an option. There was no way of knowing what would happen next. You would just fall through the floor, or you would just instantly appear somewhere else. I love the fact that I never knew what was coming.
That was a really good idea as well. Like,
it was, and let us explore the different game environments.
Yeah, and it's all about open world, isn't it? I mean, it's like the first Dead Island, for example. That was fantastic. And Far Cry, and all those other open world games that I enjoyed.
The first Dead Island, that's a personal favourite of mine.
Yes, I think that was a personal favourite as well. The second Dead Island was pretty crap. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to go off track here.
Or Dead Island 1.5, we'll call it. Riptide.
Yeah, that was horrible. It was just horrible.
Online gaming sessions of that wasn't so great.
It was. How many times did we play it and you left me stranded in like a boat? I think I'm still in that boat. Seriously. You left me stranded in that boat. Fucking arsehole.
I got frustrated with the game. I just had to walk away.
It was all about, it was not, you know, that game was really, you know, see, I can't believe I'm trying to, not comparing it, but I'm sort of like, you get what I mean? Like, you can tell the story is different because, like, Dead Island Riptide, right, it was more focused on, oh, go get me this bottle of water, go get me, and you were telling me about it too, go get me this, go get me that. There was no storyline, there was no this, there was no that, apart from number one.
There was no reason to care. I felt the whole story was just helping survivors and recycling
That's
game
basically
mechanics.
what it was. And every now and then making a new mod, you know, the new shock mod or something like that. I mean,
yeah, which wasn't enough. But back on top of it with
I was gonna compare that as to the Evil Within. You've got the storyline to it. You've got the storyline to it. You've got a lot more atmosphere. You know, it's a lot more open world, and you could, you know, I mean, fuck, you can Daryl the shit out of a zombie's head. You know, you can go up to him with a knife and just.
It was pretty fun. The game mechanics were good. You know, they carried over from one to the other. But in the first Dead Island, you know, you were trying to escape. You were trying to figure things out. 1.5 Riptide, that just felt like mini missions.
You
It felt like a DLC you paid extra for, and it was given a different title.
was
That's what it
$79,
felt.
wasn't it, on Steam, I believe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was something about that price range. It was
Yeah.
a full price game, and I felt that was a $30 DLC. We should have just attached to the first one.
It should have been free, to be honest. That's what I think. But I think that the best thing about Dead Island that I don't think Evil Within never had was the
Mhm.
stomp. No, not the stomp. The kick.
That kick was amazing.
It was. It was. It literally. It sent them flying. Like it literally sent them flying about like what 10 meters. That kick was like Superman. It was like Sparta. It was just. It was insane. It was epic.
It really was. It would help you get out of
It was.
any situation. With the Evil Within, do you think we can ever expect a sequel to that game? And would you actually welcome a sequel? This was obviously Game Tango's first shot, so obviously a learning experience. But nevertheless, do you think the Evil Within warrants to be its own series?
I think it would. I have high expectations for it. Most of it did deliver to those high expectations,
It
especially
did come under a lot of pressure. We did
exactly,
expect
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I said, for it's a third person game, and it being a third person game, I kind of have high hopes for it. I hope that it does have more, more sequels and prequels and quadruple equals.
I would definitely welcome more of this game.
Yeah,
I think that can fix any shortcomings that came with the first game. Such as the difficulty curve with the bosses,
yep,
and just of course add new features and see how far they can take it and build up the characters. Let us learn more about Sebastian. Let's learn more about his past,
yeah.
or
Oh,
give us a completely different story and an even more interesting character.
do you think that how far are you into the game exactly?
Oh, I've completed the game.
Oh, you've completed it completely. Oh wow.
I've
Okay, so that's good. I mean, I haven't completed the whole game all the way, so I've only gotten up to what was it? The what was his name? The wolf-like dude. The wolf-like. What's his name?
that actual
Wolf
massive wolf thing you
person.
find.
Yeah, whatever the fuck, whatever it is. It looks like a. Fucking his mouth goes up like 60. It's like an anaconda, all right, and it looks really. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but what's his name? I'm just gonna call him Wolfman. All right. He
We'll
fucking
go. We'll go with Wolfman. It's very rarely I complete one of my video game because I get very distracted.
Mm,
I'm always playing too many games at once, and I
yeah.
should. But the Evil Within, I did not only complete it, but then when I unlocked the even harder mode, I went back into the game and did it again. So, for me, when I did the review of it on my website, I gave that a 9 out of 10, I'm pretty sure it was.
Which you guys should definitely check that out. I'll put it in the doobly-doo below, and if you don't check that out, I will come to your house and I will eat your toes. That's right.
It's serious, don't give him the chance.
Yes, excellent.
But
I
yeah, no, a sequel, I definitely welcome it.
definitely. I thought,
Oh, there is one more horror game coming out, actually. I just forgot.
what game?
It's coming out by Hideo Kojima, the Metal Gear Solid director.
Yes.
Uh,
I wasn't a big fan of the Metal Gear Solid ones, but I
he's
thought,
nevertheless a very respected game designer, though, and working on the next Silent Hill game. Silent Hill
oh,
being the next
I know what that
good
is. I know
survival.
exactly what it is. That's the Homecoming one, isn't it? The one where you're like in like a house. Sorry, Silent Hill PT or something like that. It was on the.
Yes,
It
yes,
was on
Silent Hill
PS4.
PT.
Like I've seen videos of it, and it's fucking exhilarating. It's really cool. Like I saw PS4 gameplay of it, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm not
It
joking.
really was.
It
An
really was.
interactive demo.
Yeah.
Everyone played it, and it actually looked quite scary. I'm curious to see how the game itself will play, because it was an interactive demo, a demo which was in first person. We don't even know if Silent Hill PT, if that is in a first person perspective.
It is in a first person. It is in a. I can confirm that it is in a first person.
They have confirmed that now?
No. When they did the gameplay demo, they released a gameplay demo, and I can confirm that it is in a first person mode. I can confirm that for a fact.
I'm happy to hear that, because I was so impressed with the demo.
Definitely.
I thought it'd be a shame if they did anything else.
That's exactly what I
Oh, we might have to check out that game once it comes out. Hopefully they've got some motivation from the evil within.
I don't think they'll have it for the PC though. Will they? That's something that I would love to check out for the PC. So I'm a PC gamer. I personally don't like console, which maybe, just maybe, there are some rumours coming around that I may have him back on the show, and we may talk about consoles, maybe.
Yeah, no, we definitely have to cover consoles. As you know, I'm a fan of both PC and console gaming.
He's an Omni console. That's right. He eats both games, both PC games and console games, so he's an Omni console. I'm just a PC lover.
I'm actually a little impressed with that name that you just ripped out like that.
It's an Omni
console. I'm an Omni console.
That's right. Omni console. It's you like both. It's like a bisexual. They like both things.
I'm a bi gamer.
That's right. I'm going to go with Omni console because it sounds a lot more, dinosaur-like, if that makes sense.
True. And my version doesn't sound PG at all. So
let's be honest. Let's be honest here. What kind of dinosaurs are bisexual? I don't think there were any dinosaurs that were bisexual.
I don't think there's any way we'd be able to prove otherwise. I don't think even Google could help us out. Even Google, where we go for all answers.
Why? It's your fault. It is your fault. It is your fault. This is what happens. This is what happens when you talk about games with you. It's just. Even my T-shirt is freaking face palming right now. Look, my T-shirt is face palming right now. That's how bad it is.
That's why we have these conversations. You love it. We try to stay on topic.
That's true.
We go a bit. We do,
which is another bad thing as well, which I'll admit that, and so that's quite entertaining. But going back, as I said, we need to go back and do some. I've totally lost what I was about to say. Holy shit!
Are you thinking about what our next topic will be?
No. I was thinking about back to the Evil Within, where we were talking about. Sorry, this part will be edited out. Don't worry. except for the boss.
There we go.
Yeah. Actually, it might not be edited out. It might just be in the. I might actually put you in the bloopers. Shenanigans.
Damn it. I did not agree to this.
Yes, you do.
Shouldn't have signed that contract.
Contract of love.
Okay, you just ruined it, made it creepy, but anyway.
That's the whole point. That's why I pointed it directly to you as soon as I went there. But going back on track, I don't know how I'm going to go back on track, but going back on track, Evil Within, if you were to rate it out of 10, what would you rate it?
I rated it a 9.
And why?
The reason why I rated it is because, one, even though it was very challenging, it was still entertaining enough that it drew me back to keep at it. Two, it's survival horror, a genre which I miss, and I feel that they did give it a really good shot. And three, it was just, even though I played it with such high expectations, which is normally a very bad sign, for the most part it actually managed to reach my expectations. And very few games, if you get into it and you have high expectations, you're normally somewhat disappointed. For me, mostly, wasn't disappointed at all, and I cannot wait to see what Tango Gameworks, Gigi Mikami, will come up with in the future.
Definitely, definitely. I'm in the same vote. How would you like vote it out of 10? Would you rate it a 1, 2, 3? What would you rate it? Definitely a 10.
The reason why I hold back on the 10 and I give it a 9 is just the difficulty curve. There was just some bits which was just, it was just unacceptable. I
Yeah,
personally
yeah,
like challenging games, and in general, I play games in hard mode anyway. But there was just certain areas which even I almost just gave up. I cannot figure out how to do this. I've used every bullet. I actually killed quite a few bosses, literally by smacking them with my gun. I had run out of every single bullet. I went to kamikaze mode and I just kept smacking it. Knowing any moment would take my head off, and the last hit would kill it. And I'll be like, "Are you serious?"
it's the same. It's the same as
It
certain
was too
games.
much.
It was the same as Dino Crisis when you're trying to get rid of some of the raptors, the velociraptors that would randomly come out of the game, and you just try
Mm.
and you'd have to be, and you were Regina, and you never had a shotgun. All you had was a stun gun and a pistol, right?
Yeah.
And you would just stun them to death, and they would back off. And then you got sick of it because they wouldn't die very quickly, so you just run away. And
Yeah.
that's what I would do. No, I wouldn't be with me. Seriously, I'd hate myself if I was with if I had a twin. Let's just say if I had a twin and he was exactly like me, I would kill him in an instant in a zombie apocalypse. Seriously,
You just feel like, I'm just going to hold myself back. But
exactly, exactly. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. It's one of those things. I'd probably kill myself. I'd
you know what?
separate.
A zombie apocalypse, that's something we definitely need to talk about
Oh
one day.
yes, yes.
That'd just be crazy. The ideas we would come up
Hands up.
with.
The first thing I'm bringing in a zombie apocalypse is mosquito repellent. I don't care what you say about that, but it's fucking true. Mosquito repellent. Mosquito repellent. You totally do.
Stop yourself from getting the infection, huh? Is that the idea?
Yes, that's right. That's the idea. You know this. You know why. It's true, because, let's be honest here. Zombie apocalypse here. Mosquitoes will be in here, and if it's like a like the Last of Us type of zombie apocalypse where it's like 20 years into the future, then let's be honest, man. I mean, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah, no,
pretty
it's
hardcore.
probably prevention is the key. Just
Prevention.
stop yourself from getting infected in the
Yep.
first
I'm
place.
just going to just dress up in fucking bubble wrap. They won't touch me. They'll just pop me to death.
I'm just picturing you in bubble wrap now during a zombie apocalypse. I'm like, should have gotten him better armor.
We
I think
already
do it
know
again
what
with
you
the
would
bubble
do in a
wrap.
zombie apocalypse. Let's be honest here. You would totally just freaking just pop me. It's like, there's zombies coming. I'm just gonna pop you.
Yeah, but it's bubble wrap. Everyone likes bubble wrap.
Yeah, but it's my protection. It's the whole point of a protection. You don't go blowing someone up with a bazooka when you've only got one shot. It's like, should I use it on a horde of zombies or you just because it pisses you off? I'm just gonna use it on you because it pisses you off.
That's just my separate anger issues. I have no control over them. I seem
Yes,
calm now, but deep down, I'm very angry.
yes, that's right.
The
Yes.
creepy voice like this compared to,
Just
you know,
one last thing that I'm going to say
yeah,
about the Evil Within. The game
yeah.
is worth checking out, either
Oh,
on
definitely.
either on PC or console. It does live up to the name, and its enemies are generally frightening,
They
and
are
the jump
indeed.
scares are just fucking just wow. The jump scares are just all over the place, right? Especially when you
Lives up
run
to
out
the
of
name. You,
when you run out of matches, right? And you think that the zombie's dead, and be like, oh, he's hanging up, he's not going to do anything, and then they drop down out of the blue. Yeah, that doesn't work with me, all right? So if I had to give it out of something, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, simply
still a very
because
generous score. Still a
the
good
reason
score.
why is because of the previous stuff I've mentioned about the letterbox and certain glitches and like hard enemies that couldn't die. You could use a bazooka on them and they wouldn't die. And just, there were times where I've literally climbed up ladders just to stay there. And then I'd try and climb down from the ladders and then they would just follow me and just, yeah, it didn't really help me at all. It was really creepy.
I have to admit, I killed quite a few enemies climbing ladders. That's how desperate I got. If it was climbing that ladder, I'm gonna hit him.
I didn't think some of them could climb ladders.
some of them, maybe it's the coding, or maybe it's certain enemy types. But sometimes I can go up a ladder and I'm safe, and other times they'll just climb right after me, and I'm like, oh, this is scary and inconsistent. Like,
That was the one thing that I didn't enjoy. It's like, I'm safe up here, man. It's like 60 meters up. I'm okay. It's fine. There's a part where the butcher was there. Right, the butcher was just like freaking, you know, he was literally just he was going insane.
that's exactly
you know?
how it sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. I've mastered that.
Yeah.
But I will admit it was quite creepy because I was scared I was going to fall into the butcher. At times I felt like I wanted to just to die quickly and start all over again, even though I'd start all over at the start again. The checkpoints were a little bit, you know, shit.
Yeah, they were another problem as well. For the most part, they were good, but sometimes before a boss, the checkpoint would be 20 minutes back.
It's the worst. That was the worst part. So the checkpoints in the game were just horrible. Unless you want to quickly skim over that quickly.
They worked fine, you could save, and for the most part, it was reliable. But I feel that if you're going to have a very difficult boss fight, common sense, have the checkpoint right at the start of the boss fight. Don't make us complete half a level to get to the boss fight.
Think about playing the game. That's why I gave up on the game. Is because it's just the checkpoint schematics were just horrible in that game. Like, I'll admit, you know, it had its benefits and its qualities and all that, but you and I both know that the quality of the game shouldn't really affect the checkpoints and stuff like that. And it really bugged me when people would, you know, especially when you got so far in the game and then you die, you know,
You're sent all the way back.
sent all the way back to where your last checkpoint was, which really pissed me off so much.
No, it was pretty inconsistent. So hopefully that's something they can also work on.
Yeah,
If they do any other sequels,
Yeah.
we'll see if Bethesda, the publisher, we'll see if they approve it or not. Because I think it's up to them whether or not the game gets another license.
But yes, I believe this is the end of our review of The Evil Within. I'd like
Thanks
to
for having me on the show.
Hey, you shush. Quiet.
Try to be polite. Avoid eye contact.
See that? You see
Sorry.
that? You see that? You will watch this video later and see this. You will see this t-shirt. And he is face palming you right now. That's right.
I can see my t-shirt.
It's so white. It's so white. White stuff comes out of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
white.
like move away.
I'd like to thank Zod for joining me on this epic adventure through the Evil Within, through this game review that had a bit of bumps and scumps and possible evil, neglective things. But yes, I'd like to thank him. Definitely subscribe to his YouTube channel and check out his articles on games, because he does like some cool games and whatnot. And if you don't do that, I will come to your house and I will lick your toes.
I think that would just get more people to not do it, but there might be some people that want it.
Yes,
That's
right.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on your channel.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Big fan of Evil Within, so more than happy to talk about it. And
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
So remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe, or I shall come to your house, and I'll set your house on fire. So
Or pet your cat.
and I'm going to stick stickers on your cat. That's right.
They're hard to get off, so.
So yeah, this is like the end of the video. So go watch another video.